Slide into some college basketball action, and we are going to begin with Creighton at Marquette. That's going to be a 3 o'clock Eastern tip-off at Marquette. Now, the Golden Eagles open the betting as the 8-point favorite at home. Total open at 150 even. And since those markets open that one up, we are seeing movement on both the spread and the total. We're seeing movement downward on both. So the total moved down to 149, spread moved down to 7.5. Once again, Marquette open -8, down to -7.5. Total open 150, down to 149. 63% are leaning Marquette, 65% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Creighton Jays, I almost said Blue Jays, the Creighton Jays are plus 285 for some money line cash. Now, if you like Creighton on the road here, just keep in mind they've dropped 4 out of their last 6 straight up when traveling. They're also 0-3 against the number in their games that tipped off at the current point spread. Creighton ranks 229th in defending the 3-ball. They also rank 210th in the nation in road defensive rebounding. Now, Marquette on the other side, completely different story. They rank 4th in shooting the 3-ball. They're shooting 40% from beyond the arc. Marquette's also ranking 26th in home offensive rebounding. Now, the Golden Eagles are covering 71% of their games on their home court. They're also covering 80% of their games that tipped off at the current point spread. And the Golden Eagles of Marquette, a really solid 10-1 against the spread, taking on teams between 450 and 550. Now, Marquette is led by Marcus Howard, who's scoring 25.3 points per contest. They're also led by Sam Hauser, who's scoring 15.1 points a game as well. Now, total-wise, Marquette is 9-2 to the under in their games on their home court, taking on teams allowing more than 72 points per contest. So let me try that again. Marquette is 9-2 to the under at home, taking on teams allowing more than 72 points per contest. Meanwhile, Creighton, 9-3 to the under, taking on teams averaging more than 72 points per game. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the half a point. I'm going to slide it down, and I'm going to make a very chalky play here. Give me Marquette -7 and the under 149 in that matchup there. All right, next game, Michigan at Maryland. 3:45 tip-off at Maryland. The Wolverines open -1.5, total open 129. And since that one opened up, we're seeing movement toward the over when it comes to the spread. We are seeing movement down. We're seeing movement toward the over when it comes to the total. We're seeing movement downward when it comes to the spread. Michigan moved down to -1. Total moved up to 129.5. So once again, the Wolverines open 1.5 down to -1. Total open 129 up to 129 and a hook. 62% are leaning Michigan. 55% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Terrapins are plus 101 on the money line. Now, if you like Michigan in this matchup here, just keep in mind Charles Matthews is doubtful with that ankle injury today. Regardless, though, Michigan has successfully covered the number in 5 out of their last 7. They're also 11-3 against the spread, taking on teams allowing less than 67 points per contest. Michigan is led by the big guy, Ignas Brazdeikis, who's scoring 15 points per contest. Meanwhile, Jordan Poole's right behind him, scoring 13 points a game. Maryland, on their side, they're coming off a humiliating 17-point loss to Penn State. Unreal. They're also just 7-9 against the spread on their home court. Maryland ranks 152nd in scoring. They're also just 7-8 against the number after 4 or more days off. Now, total-wise, Maryland 67% to the over at home, taking on teams allowing less than 67 points per contest. Michigan 2-0 to the over in their last 2, 4-3 to the over in their last 7. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward Michigan -1 and the over 129.5 in that matchup there. All right, next and final game for our college slate. It is going to be Washington at Stanford, 4 o'clock Eastern tip-off at Stanford. The Huskies open -2, total open 134.5, and since that one opened up, we're seeing pretty steady two-way action when it comes to the spread. We're still at that 2 number, although we are seeing a little bit of movement toward the over when it comes to the total. That moved up to 135. So once again, the Huskies open and remain -2. Total open 134.5 up to 135. 64% are leaning toward Washington, 61% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, Stanford's plus 115 for some money line cash. Now, Washington is 12-3 against the spread in their last 15. They're also 6-3 ATS in their last 9 on the road. Washington is led by Jalen Knoll, who's scoring 16 points per contest. They're also led by Noah Dickerson, who's scoring 13 points a game and bringing down 7 rebounds per contest as well. Now, Washington ranks 21st in the country in points allowed. They also rank 7th in the country in road field goal percentage. They're shooting 49% from the field when traveling. Now, Stanford has dropped 2 out of their last 3. They're also just 1-2 against the number in those 3 games. They rank 157th in points allowed. They're giving up 72 points per game in that category there. Now, total-wise, Stanford 60% to the over at home, taking on teams allowing less than 67 points per contest. I'm going to lean toward the road favorite in this one. Give me Washington -2 and the over 135 in that matchup there. All right, next and final slate for the show, it is going to be in the NHL. We're going to take a look at a couple games here, actually just 3 games. And we're going to begin with Philadelphia at the Islanders, 3 o'clock puck drop in Long Island. The Islanders opened -180, total at 6. And if you're from Long Island or you're an Islanders fan, feel free to drop me a line in the chat box below. I got to give you credit, man. It's been a brutal couple of decades, really, for you. And the Islanders, very impressive turning it on this year. So if you're from the island, if you're from Nassau County, or if you're by Long Island University, CW Post, drop me a line, or Hofstra, drop me a line in the chat box below. But once again, the Islanders open -180, total open at 6. Since those markets opened this one up, we're actually seeing a 20-cent fade of the Islanders when it comes to the money line. Not a whole lot of movement on the total. But right now, New York is -160, total remains at 6. So once again, the Islanders open 180 down to -160. Total open and remains at an even 6 goals. 67% of the consensus is shaded toward the Islanders. 66% is shaded toward the over. Right now, the Flyers are +135 on the money line. New York +180 on the puck line. We have Elliott projected in net for Philly. Lehner projected in net for the Islanders. New York 71% as the favorite. They're winning 71% of their games as the official Vegas favorite. They're also winning 81% of their games as the official home favorite. The Islanders rank first in home goals allowed at just 2.3. The Islanders are also a perfect 4-0 straight up in their games that were played at the current market price. Now, Philly, on their side of things, they're winning just 33% of their games that was played at the current money line odds. They're also winning just 29% of their games, taking on teams over 550. Now, when it comes to scoring, the Islanders are just 7-17 to the over at home when the line was 6 or higher. So I'm going to make a chalky play here, very expensive play, but I'm going to lean New York Islanders -160 in the under 6 goals in that matchup there. Next game, Nashville at Minnesota. Preds at the Wild, 7:30 puck drop in Minnesota. The Preds open 120, total open 5.5. Since that one opened up, not a whole lot of movement on the total, although we did see a 10-cent move toward Nashville when it comes to the money line. That moved them up to -130. So once again, the Preds open 120, up to -130. Total's 5.5. 71% of the consensus is leaning toward Nashville, 82% shaded toward the under. And at the moment, Minnesota's +120 on the money line, Nashville +240, laying the goal and a half. Pecorine projected in net for Nashville, Stalock projected in net for Minnesota. Nashville's winning 67% of their games at the current market price. They also rank 5th in the NHL in goals allowed at just 2.6. Minnesota, on the other side, they rank 27th in home scoring at just 2.7 goals per game. They've also dropped 6 out of their last 7 on their home ice. Now, total-wise, Minnesota's 4-1 to the over in their last 5 at home, taking on Nashville if you're into historical trends. Minnesota's also 6-5-2 to the over when Stalock makes the start. Nashville 64% to the over on the road when the line's 5.5. Give me Nashville -130 in the over 5.5 goals in that matchup there. All right, next and final game for the show. It is going to be Blackhawks at the Sharks, 10 o'clock puck drop in San Jose. The Sharks open 2:15, total open at 7. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing steady movement on both the spread and both the